All right, today's video we are talking about the halfway point of sober for a year, and I say sober for a year, and at this point in the journey, it's just I don't even know if I'll ever go back to drinking. Today we're gonna go through 11 reasons why. And when I say sober, I was thinking about this before. I don't like saying that word, sober. It's like, oh, hey, we're going out tonight. You want to come? It's like, yeah, I'm sober. And to me, it's almost like a handicap, the way that my brain and people identify as being sober. It doesn't need to be an identification. It's just I don't decide to put poison in my body on a daily basis or a weekendly basis. And I want to work and almost as maybe a community. If you guys are watching this and you're also someone who doesn't drink alcohol, it's just like, we just decide to live a more connected and healthy lifestyle. And that's the way that I've really started to look at it now. So as I said today, 11 things we're gonna go through. And maybe you're in your journey right now where you're just at a point where you've realized that alcohol just doesn't do what it used to do for you. And it seems like you're only doing it by association or with certain friend groups. And you find yourself, why do I still do this on those Sunday mornings? Or you'll go clean for a week and then you'll drink, and then you're just like, dude, why did I do that? I feel like a bag of dicks. And maybe this is the video for you, and maybe there's a reason why you're here, a little bit of divinity. So the first thing is, overall in my life, over the past 7 months, I have gotten so consistent across the board. I like to always look at my life in terms of pillars. So in one pillar we have health and fitness. In the other pillar we have relationship to God. In the other pillar we have business. Then we have relationships with maybe intimate relationships and friend relationships we can put in the same pillar. And then we have family and whatever pillars you may have for your life. When I would drink a lot, I would find a very off-balanced pillar. Maybe I would drink a lot because business was rolling and I could go buy an $80 bottle of wine and drink and avoid other things. But relationships was in the low 10, 20%. Not being a good partner. Haven't called my mom in a while. Haven't spoken to my dad in a while, whatever it may be. And now that I'm a lot more clear-headed without alcohol in my life, I've noticed that I'm consistently able to keep all the pillars up, which bring you more happiness in your life. When you have a lot more pillars up, you have more consistent happiness in your life. I've also set goals for myself. And before, even when I drank, I was always very audacious, and I would set big, hairy goals. And in the past, I'd get excited. I'd set these big goals across the board, and I'd really work really hard towards them. And then one weekend would throw them off. Would really throw off the goals, and then I'd have those questions throughout that weekend of drinking of, do I even want to do this? Why did I even set this goal? You're fine where you are. And those thoughts don't come up when you don't have that in your life, and you're just able to continually chop the axe at the tree on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And those wins, wow, do they stack up. The amount that I've accomplished for the things that matter to me, most important, the things that matter to me over the past 7 months of being sober, maybe if I kept drinking, I would only be like a quarter of the way of where I'm at. So, huge for me. All right, number 2, you start to forget what anxiety even was. If you're watching this and maybe you're still drinking and you go out and you have a weekend bender, so Friday, Saturday you drink really hard, and they talk about hangovers being just the day after, like a heavy day of drinking, but your brain in homeostasis, whatever it may be, your dopamine system recalibrates. It takes about more than a week. Andrew Huberman talks about this in his podcast, and that podcast about alcohol really got me to make this decision. So maybe after you watch his video, check that out. And he says about 10 days after like a big weekend is when your centers are back to normal. How many of us even make it 10 days before we don't have another drink? So what happens is our centers are way off balance, And that's why we start to feel like really off and anxiety and we need a drink. It's like, oh, I had a busy day at work, I need to go have a drink. It's just like, oh, today was crazy, you guys want to go get drinks? You start to forget what that feeling was of the need for exterior substances to take care of what's going on in here, because through time, without having the vice, the alcohol, or maybe for you it's something else, and you just learn how to work through it on your own, and you find healthier ways. For me, I've gotten really into, I've always been into fitness, but I've really strengthened my relationship with fitness, and to me, that is my alcohol now, is doing something good for my body, because it gives me that space where I can, okay, things are going really crazy right now, let me go get a hard workout in for an hour and just forget about all that and address it when we come back. Boom. Another thing is moving more towards a meditation practice where it's like, okay, things are a little crazy right now, it's Friday night, I'm not gonna go out and drink, I'm not gonna go out and party, so let me just meditate for an hour and a half. And wow, do you feel good after that? Consistently waking up 7 days a week and feeling fucking fantastic is amazing. Unfathomable how to explain it. Because I look back all these years that I would at least have a couple days a month where I just wake up and I'm like, ugh. And what do you do on those days? You eat shitty food. Maybe you are a little outlandish in your relationships with your family or with your intimate others because you're just not yourself. Your body's in survival mode. Your body's trying to get back to normal. You're drained of fluids. You've poisoned yourself with alcohol. And most of us, whether we know it or not, we overdrink. In the Huberman podcast, he talks about like 3 drinks a week. Like anything after that, you're an alcoholic. Used to take down 3 in an hour and a half. Every 30 minutes, ring them up, Charlie. I'm ready. Line them up. And we would just get after it. One thing about me, maybe you can relate to this, maybe you can't, but I went pretty hard when I drank. I enjoyed, like drinking is fucking fun. Let's face it. Drinking's fun, being with the boys or friends and just pounding drinks, forgetting about tomorrow, and just, being so in the moment. It's one thing about it, but there's a price to pay with that. You can achieve those same things without it. We'll talk to that in a second here. The third thing, coffee beaning people. So there's a story of an egg, a carrot, and a coffee bean in a pot of boiling water. You put the carrot in the pot of boiling water, and this hard carrot softens. You put the egg, this hard on the outside, but soft on the inside. It stays hard on the outside, but softens in the inside. And then you put the coffee bean. The coffee bean's the only thing that changes the environment that it's in. Turns it into coffee. So we talk about being a coffee bean a lot in my mastermind, the Dream State. And when you are committed to not drinking and not falling into the habits that people expect of you, and you are so confident in your journey of not allowing this poison to control you anymore, you're gonna realize that in the beginning, this was really profound for me. So in the first 2 to 3 months, people keep testing you, at least for me, where, you're still not drinking? Or they know I'm not drinking, but on the phone, they'd be like, hey, we're going out drinking tonight. It's like, and they would almost try and get you to say that you're drinking. It would really bother me in the beginning. I'm like, dude, I told you 10 times that I'm doing this thing for myself. And then I just learned to realize hey, no one likes drinking alone. It's okay, just let go. You don't need to try and force coffee on them. Just stay true to what you're doing. And after that 3-month, 90-day mark, it was magic. If I would go to a social outing, someone would get me a pack of non-alcoholic beers, and they would be like, you know what, because of you, man, I'm actually, I bought this for us, I'm not gonna drink today either. I got something tomorrow, and you made me feel comfortable because you're not gonna be drinking, so I got us this non-alcoholic pack of beer. And that makes you feel so good. It's just wow. and then you can create genuine conversation with this person. You don't need outside vices. And people in your family might start going like 30 days without alcohol, and even if it's just 30 days and you had a part of that, you never know what they're going to learn over those 30 days. People in your group, in my mastermind, other people have committed to do a year sober. It was crazy. One of my really, really close friends, Emily, if you're watching this, Emily, I love you. And the same day I committed to go sober, we did not talk about this. The same day, and we always say we're like connected some way, and this is just to prove it. The same day she announced she was gonna do a year sober. So we started the same day without knowing we were gonna start the same day. So I can't say that I coffee bean her, but her being in my mastermind, we have influenced other people where it's like, hey, these are the wins that I'm getting. Emily talks, these are the wins that she's getting. And people are like, wow, I want those wins. I want to be more consistent in my business, in my relationships, in my life, in my fitness across the board. Why wouldn't you? So just having that, the positive impact on people is really, really profound, because it gives you more juice to keep going as well. And when you're not allowing people to get you to drink the Kool-Aid, to drink the Burgundy, the Beaujolais, whatever it may be, and you can stay true and committed to what you're doing, it's really powerful. There's a beautiful, calm feeling of going to a restaurant and feeling so confident and just saying, water with lemon, please. And not having any guilt or remorse or sense of needing to drink because everyone else is drinking. Sparkling water with lemon, please. And then when people are just like, oh, you don't want to drink? It's just like, no, I'm good. I don't really drink, don't really like it that much. You don't even need to go into, oh, I'm doing a year sober. Because then it comes into, oh, after do you miss it or this? Or it's just like, no, speak as if it is a part of your lifestyle, which it is now. Has been really profound for me. So number 4, clarity on relationships has been huge. I've learned a lot throughout this, and I'd say with relationships, a big thing I learned is, before I had a decent amount of drinking buddies, and certain relationships I had were really revolved around alcohol, and I had to take a bit of a vacation for those relationships because I really loved those people, but there was a feeling inside of me when I was with them that only wanted to drink. And it would make this sober thing a lot harder when I was with them, because our relationship was built off of going to the pub and taking down a few IPAs, or going skiing and getting wasted and kind of like having a vacation from life together, right? We may all have that one person in our life that we know when we get together with them, it's gonna be a fun bender. And there's almost that part of it that when you're in those relationships though, and you guys know you're both numbing and drinking away your pain, it's almost like your souls are crying together. And I started to look at these relationships and I was like, wow, we were in a lot of pain, and we were in it together. And we drank so much together because we were both in pain. We didn't know how to communicate to each other. Give me a hug, brother. It's not funny, but we can find some humor in it and we can talk about it now. But there was a lot of pain. So taking a break from those relationships was powerful for me. And kind of when I come back into them, and it's just like, hey, we haven't seen each other in a while. I haven't drank in 7 months and I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. And you can talk about why with that person, and maybe going back to what we just talked about, you can coffee bean that person in your life. Because I do notice that these people that we believe are friends, but a lot of them are drinking buddies right now, they are really addicted to the comfort that our relationship brings to them. And that comfort is through vice. So when we don't supply the comfort through vice, the relationship is questioning them. So they might not enjoy that, and they might kind of lash out in the relationship and really call you out on it. Where it's like, dude, like, are you good? Like, you've been doing all this stuff. I mean, it's just a couple of drinks. Like, you've changed, bro. Someone will say you've changed because they don't know how to say that you're growing. Heard that from Chris Williamson recently, and I really enjoyed that. So just clarity through older relationships is really powerful. Okay, the next thing. and this really aligns with relationships, is achieving deep connection without alcohol is one thing I've really enjoyed on this journey. So I was always a sucker for a glass of wine and a conversation with a beautiful girl or even a close friend, and just deep conversation. I could stay up till 2 a.m. and just drinking and just talking and really getting to know someone. This was actually in the beginning the thing that I missed the most. Ever since I was 19 years old, I remember I was 19, 20 years old, I was dating this 30-year-old from Harvard, and while all my friends were at college drinking away and, you know, drinking keggers, I wasn't doing that. I was talking about philosophy with a 30-year-old woman, beautiful, gorgeous, drinking wine till 2, 3 in the morning, and I became addicted to that. It was amazing, it was beautiful, it was sexual, it was erotic, it was just awesome. I associated my relationship with alcohol with those feelings. Hope you understand what I'm getting at here. So by me not drinking alcohol, I thought that I was no longer going to be able to achieve those amazing connections, because they are great connections. But through time, you can achieve these connections and even stronger connections without the alcohol. It just has to be with the right person. What alcohol makes is it makes it easy to make those relationships, those deep connections with really anybody. But when you can find the right person that's truly, truly connected to you, and you can really go deep without a vice, wow, fireworks, there's magic within that. Talk about erotic, sexual, amazing, beautiful, all of the above. It's just, and then you wake up the next morning and it's like, it's not like, oh, what happened last night? We were up till 3 in the morning. That was awesome. It's just like, it continues. It's like, oh wow, we slept for 6 hours, but we're back. Or if it's not maybe a sexual thing, if you're with a buddy, it's like, dude, that was a great conversation last night, but now we're up at 6 a.m. and we're staying committed to what we said we were gonna do the night before. Because if you've ever had these relationships with friends where you guys are drinking all night, and you're like, dude, tomorrow, let's freaking get after it. Let's wake up at 7, let's go to the gym, and then from there, let's go work on the business, and then from there, let's get lunch, and then after that, we'll do a second gym session. You wake up in the morning, oh, bro, let's just skip the first thing. I'll go back to bed and we'll get brunch. But when you don't have the vice involved, that energy translates to the next morning, and you wake up and say, boom, let's get after it. Because if we said we were gonna do it the night before and we didn't have any alcohol or any vices in us, 99% of the time, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. And the next day, you just move into it so much momentum because of the relationship you had. I had my friend Cody visit me here in Medellin recently, and you know, he obviously knows I'm sober. He was doing an ayahuasca experience, so he was sober too. And we were talking, it's like each day we had together, we banged out, we got a workout in. I always work out right in the morning, and he just joined me. Why not? So workout, well, before workout, meditate, workout, and then we would do like 3 to 4 hours of work. I would do what I need to do, and he would do what he needed to do. And in that 3 to 4 hours, we got done what we needed to do the rest of the day. So then we had the rest of the day to do whatever the fuck we wanted. And we didn't have that feeling of, oh, I got shit to do. Because in the past, my best friend Cody, we've been friends for a while, maybe we would have went out till 3 in the morning, woke up at 10, not got a workout in, and throughout the day been handling those tasks that needed to get done, and maybe by 9 o'clock we might have got them done, or probably not, and we just carried into the next day. I hope you understand what I'm getting at there. So, deep connection, amazing benefit of this journey. Okay, the next thing, number 6. This one was special, and this was one thing that took me around like the 4-month mark to really realize it because of this one experience I'll talk about. So the relationships that you will attract into your life. Wow. I was in Bogota, and I was in a Turkish spa, and there was just this really cool girl from Ukraine. She was meditating in the Turkish spa that was at like 42 degrees Celsius. Thing was hot. No, like 50 degrees Celsius. Thing was hot. She was meditating in there for 25 minutes. So I was in there as well. I started doing some like yoga poses because I like doing that in the Turk. And after we start talking, and one thing she said was, I saw your eyes yesterday and I felt like I've known you from a past life. I was like, whoa, that's a great way to start a conversation. So I asked her out to dinner. We went out to dinner. We find out that we're born on the same day. Also, she knew I didn't drink. This was a very, very intelligent woman, but she knew I didn't drink. She says, no one with your frequency would ever drink. When she said that to me, it was one of the reasons why I was like, at that moment, clicked. I was like, I don't need this in my life. I don't need this. For this person, this very intelligent, amazing, beautiful human being, were to say that I knew you didn't drink because of your vibration. Wow. And there's also negatives to this as well. And I like to be honest because you don't attract as many relationships. It might be lonely in the beginning of your journey, but that's when you're really going to work on the shadow self, as Carl Jung talks about. Learn about the shadow self, because if you are going to take this journey of going maybe 6 months or maybe a year sober, you're going to understand that you're going to face your shadow. And it's important that you don't try and avoid your shadow by staying with these relationships that don't even serve you anyway. Because once you can face your shadow head on, that's when you'll start attracting these really amazing relationships. People that are living how you want to live or living how you're living. Because in that moment, you are now going to start changing your frequency and changing your personality, essentially who you are. Your personality is not going to be associated with the person that binge drinks, the person that has low frequency. You're going to get used to this higher frequency because you're turned to that station. And in that moment, through nature, you are going to attract people on a higher frequency. So just know that that will come. You need to get your frequency up consistently, and not by cheating it. You might feel really great when you have your frequency from alcohol or drugs, but just know that that's temporary. That's why people love cocaine and this type of stuff so much, because it raises your frequency so high for a little bit, and then you need more, and your dope baseline is way low the next day. And that's why you have the confidence to go up to people when you're on those drugs, because it raises your frequency with unnaturally. But you can get there naturally if you stay committed over time and you work and work and work on your frequency. And at that high frequency are all of your goals, ideal relationships, your best body that you've worked for. It's all at that frequency. All right, number 7. Number 7 is fitness. Wow, I mean, it goes back to number 1, which is just being consistent in all avenues. But I've always been a gym guy. I grew up an athlete: hockey, lacrosse, football. Those are the main ones, but I pretty much played anything. Just very athletic, and even after high school, got into the gym. But I was always just like, I could party and also gym. And then as I got into my 20s, a little bit harder. Was drinking a lot when I first started making money in business, because I could. And I got fat, didn't feel good. And I tore my ACL about 3 years ago, and that was 2.5 years ago. That was a really big, no, 3 years ago now. It's February, yeah, exactly 3 years ago. That was a really big lesson for me, because I realized how, we're renting this body. We're in a rental agreement here with this body, and we can't take these younger years for granted. And being able to daily do crazy workouts and see my body transformation into a fucking Greek god. And last year I ran an ultra marathon without really training for it, which was stupid. And I'm gonna do a video on that when we take on these big things in our life, like, we gotta take them seriously. But I was able to run it without training and finish it really without training, which is amazing. It's just a testament to being committed to a sober lifestyle and not having alcohol in me, because alcohol, stay committed to the gym for 2 weeks, doing good, and then boom, it just destroys all your gains, and it's just, you're always playing catch up. You're always playing catch up when you have that vice in your life. So I've just seen my fitness just continue to rise, and also my love for fitness. I've strengthened the relationship with fitness so much without having the vice, because what alcohol would do in my mind is, once I would drink, I'd be like, dude, you'd start comparing yourself to people that are just way out of shape. It's like, dude, you're like, 215 pounds. There's people walking around that are 400. Go eat a cheeseburger. Go drink another beer. You're good, dude. You're good. That's that Jiminy Crickets I call. That's that devil on your left shoulder that's talking to you when you're drinking. It's like, no, you don't need to be excellent. You don't need to be exceptional. Just be average. So those voices don't come up anymore. So your fitness is just going to elevate. And maybe to you, that just means getting out there and walking a little bit. Maybe being a CrossFit athlete or whatever isn't your ideal thing, but that makes me happy, and I've become an absolute savage with it. And that, back to the coffee bean effect, you just start coffee beating other people in your life. It's like, damn, Ethan's going so hard, and he is radiating a high frequency because of it and because of other things. Like, man, I want some of that. I want some of that in my life, and that's just gonna help serve other people. When you're serving other people, that energy just comes back. So it's just a win-win-win-win-win-win. All right, number 8. I had an ayahuasca experience, and within this ayahuasca experience, I was sitting down and I was shown into like a past version of myself where my soul was essentially just like broken. And it was when I was drinking a lot. And it showed me how unhappy that this soul is when it's avoiding life with alcohol. And it was like a dark, black, gross soul that just needed fast food and alcohol and cheap sex and all these sins. And it was just a soul that was just controlled by essentially the devil. And I saw into that, and then it showed me where I'm at now. And it showed me how clean my soul was and how happy it was and how focused on purpose and living it was. And it was almost just like this is where you were, this is where you are, choose one. And of course, 10 out of 10 times you're gonna choose that. And ayahuasca, I talk about openly in my experience with plant medicine. It's not for everyone. I have a good relationship with plant medicine. So for me, I can do those type of things, but I would do your own research before venturing into something like that. But it's really powerful to show you the inner. And when I first did ayahuasca years ago, I went like 2 weeks without drinking before it. But after my trip, I couldn't wait to get back to alcohol because I had faced so much into it. I didn't know how to handle. I didn't know how to handle what the truths that ayahuasca showed me, so I wanted to get right back to drinking. And I feel like that could happen with people. So now with a more clear mind, I really was able to see into the inner and the soul and just really evaluate and see like how unhappy I truly was back when I used to drink all the time. So number 9, this one you hear a lot of people talk about, but the bank account. I mean, I would drink, and I was the type of guy that's like, hey, and I'm saying this, I didn't drink every day. Like, I wasn't like a crazy alcoholic, but when I drank, I like to go hard and I like to, get a nice bottle of wine. So I'd be the guy that's like, oh, I don't really drink that much, a couple times a month. So let's go in on like a fancy wine, So my dinner bills went from being on average $150 a head to now like $20-30 a head. You're just less impulsive and you just get what you need. Water, please. I don't need an appetizer, because before, when I was drinking, it's like, how long can we make this dinner last so I can get as much drinks in as possible, enjoy this. Now it's just like, hey, I just need an entree. That's really all I'm good for. I'm good for one entree. Don't need shitty fried food appetizers. So your decisions are just a lot better as well. And you don't make stupid decisions as much. Like, drinking leads to being impulsive, and that's actually going to move into number 10, is I'm less impulsive as well. So these two really coincide, the bank balance and being less impulsive. Because when you are drinking all the time, just like, oh, you know what, I got money in the bank, let me spend $400 at Lululemon. Why? To get some shitty clothes that are gonna make me look good in the gym or what have you, or you know what, let me get this fancy sunglasses, or you know what, let me get the brand new iPhone even though mine works perfectly. just this impulsion just stacks and stacks and stacks when you're like in that low vibration because you are looking for exterior things to make you feel good. Get where we're kind of getting at the commonality here? So without needing to spend money on exterior things that make me feel good, I don't need as much. It's like a minimalist life. I'm happy with just the bare minimum, so therefore I'm able to save more, I'm able to put more into the business, I'm able to really focus on things that bring me happiness instead of always kind of trying to chase and get my bank balance back up because I spent it like crazy at the club or at the bar, at the what have you, expensive dinner. So just not having that impulsion and more money in the bank has been huge. And then 11, eliminating alcohol has led to more awareness of the devil. And I want to call it the devil just because it's something that we can all understand, but you can have your own version of this. And by that I mean there's so many things out there. In Think and Grow Rich, they talk about this. They talk about temperance. And the devil can get inside of you through cigarettes, through low frequency things, cigarettes, weed, cocaine, alcohol, shitty relationships. You become way more aware of all of these things. And a lot of times it's not even just the things that you smoke or drink or take or what have you, it's also the energy of other people. So when you have worked so hard to get your frequency at a certain point, you're so selective on the environments that you surround yourself, whether those are people environments, whether those are environments that have these type of vices in them. You're more focused on how can I keep my frequency here and bring it up more. So consistently getting into rooms like that and avoiding things that have those lower vibrational people and energy fields in there. So it's just an awareness of frequency, of focus on the God frequency. How can we stay at the God frequency? Because you are going to achieve feelings of like a God frequency when you no longer are putting vices in your life on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So that's it for today. I wish you the best in your journey. If you have questions, put them in the comments below. And if you've got this far, I really appreciate it. And drop a like and subscribe to the channel. That would really help the beginning here of the DreamState channel. We're absolutely gonna blow this thing up through time, through consistency, and through efforts. And just share your comments below. All right, guys, peace.